Yeah, obviously a exciting game Saturday in West Lafayette. And a lot of talk, and now we've had a couple days of mandatory NCAA time off, and then a couple of days of practice to get a very good Washington team. Washington is very, very talented. They have one of the best bigs in the country. They're a team that is great size and very, very solid on the defensive side. So Steinbach's a problem. He's a potential draft choice. They're very, very good on the offensive glass. We've got to make sure we do kind of the same mentality we had in the Purdue game, trying to keep their two bigs off the glass and out of opportunities. Diallo is a much improved player from one year to the next, and is having quite a nice year. So, team coming off a win, we've got to play well and know that defensively they're very, very solid. They've got great size and length on the perimeter, and they're a heck of a basketball team. So we've got to be really sharp.
Coach, Tyler seems to be pushing all the right buttons with this offense right now. Why is it clicking so well, and particularly why is it clicking in end of game situations?
Yeah, good players. I think Tyler's done a nice job of putting guys in places where they're very successful, and trying not to do too much with guys that maybe don't flourish in certain areas of the floor or in certain plays, but really simplifying the game. We're not a overly big set team. We don't run a lot. Everything is about getting two to the ball and making opponents make their decisions, and then us making adjustments. So a lot of that is obviously revolved around what the other team scouts are and their coverages, and Tyler's done a nice job, and as have the rest of our staff in making some of those adjustments.
How was David's ankle?
Great. A couple days off helped.
What about Jason?
Jason is out. Jason has a blood clot in his shoulder area that is being dealt with, and we will continue to update as we know more through that process.
Has he seen a doctor this week?
Yes. Yeah. So as they continue to work on results, we'll continue to monitor that situation.
What's it like to be able to coach with Tyler? You're saying you guys have a good working relationship. You talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. Just from your perspective, what is it like to be able to work with your son?
Well, I probably means a lot more for Dad than it does son. And the one thing that was always a challenge for me was I was pretty much an absentee father when they grew up, when my kids were growing up, and the recruiting periods were different. I would be gone the month of July. I spent 10 years at Western Illinois, which meant a lot of cars, a lot of recruiting, a lot of travel, and I never coached any of my children in anything in youth sports because I was the dad who was never around. So to have that opportunity now and to be around him and just a simple dap him up every day and sit down and talk basketball every day is really pretty neat, and something that I hope someday means a lot to him, and maybe it does now, but it sure means a lot to Dad, and then to value how hard he works from the professional side. I have tremendous respect for how he's growing and how hard he works at it.
How do you feel like maybe the way you emphasize shot selection this offseason has influenced shot selection during the season?
It's changed our whole dynamic. I've had good offenses before, but I think the one thing that it's done is just emphasized to our players and helped them understand what we're looking for. Just the comparison from one year to the next. Last year we took a lot of 16-second contested threes, on the shot clock, and we're not doing that. The best play in the Purdue game was maybe Keaton's pass to Jake Davis in the corner with under 5 on the shot clock, and just understanding we're going to get a better shot, and it's been very, very positive for our players and understanding it. We spent all summer working on those gold, silver, bronze type shots.
This game is kind of sandwiched between two top 5 teams. Maybe it's just an outside noise kind of thing, but
It is. It's very much an outside noise thing that you want to bring up all the time. Washington's a really good basketball team, so believe me, I think it's one of the reasons we try to play the schedule we play in the non-league. You got UConn, Tennessee, Alabama. You got them back to back to back. Missouri, right on down the list is so that you have to get back ready to play. Sure, was Purdue a high-level game? It was a high-level college basketball game with tremendous emotion. But the reality is that you have to get back up and get ready again, and that's the reality of this league, and the beauty of this league is you can't slip or you get beat.
More about injuries. Where's Kyle with his knee/groin? And has a timeline with him becoming all clear?
He participated in practice yesterday for the first time, coming back from his groin, did some activities. So we're still kind of in a wait-and-see pattern with Ty's injury. But it was very nice to see him back on the court. He does that a lot.
Was he able Tyler said this is your offensive vision. You always liked positional size and all that. Can you just speak to the project you guys have done offensively over the last 3 to 4 years and how it's kind of evolved?
Yeah, I've always thought that you had to have offense to win, and yet to me it's never been about the action that you run. To me it's figuring out how to score. Why do we emphasize offensive rebounding? Why do we emphasize getting to the free throw line? Being able to create space, but it's always been about maximizing your best players and your most efficient players and putting them in the best spots, no matter what whether it was Kofi as a center or Io or Trent or whatever. So, but we did have to redefine some things, and shot selection was a big part of that. And I think the other thing was knowing that we had multiple bigs who could step out and shoot it, and maybe it looks a little different. Our shots in the paint, it's not throwing it to a Kofi type center and getting the ball in the paint. Maybe it's driving it in the paint with a Kylan Boswell or a Keaton Wagler or whoever it is. So becoming comfortable with that, and then really redefining what shot selection was for us as kind of been the cherry on top.
What's been Tyler's influence?
Almost all of it. He's the math behind it. He's way smarter than I am. He's done tremendous amount of MBA background and studying. He talks to those people constantly. It's giving him a challenge and letting him just run with it. And then I think if I've done one thing great, is be smart enough to just stay out of the way and listen. And there's some things I don't always agree with, but I'm always going to ask why. I always want to know the why, and then let him convince me and or some of the other guys as well. So shot selection made sense. They know I'm not going to back down on offensive rebounding and free throws and points in the paint, but it's something that I give him and the rest of our staff a lot of credit, because they've done the background on it.
What do you recall about the first time that Tyler called you and said, "Hey, we got to look at this kid in Kansas"?
Well, the one thing I hope I've done very well as a head coach is trust my staff. and understand that there's some clarity in what we're looking for, and what we know what we're looking for. And Tyler's been around a long time to know that the one thing Tyler did as a player was he was a great passer. And I've always been fascinated with passing, and it's one of the things that stuck out, I think, very early with Keaton. You know, it's very hard to take non-shooters and make them shooters, and so I've liked shooting. And you know, then you throw in the fact that he's got positional size. You know, it became, okay, let me go watch this kid. And so it was, it didn't take a lot of convincing. You know, once I saw him on film, and then you find out the background, and you start doing the personality, you start seeing the winning the state championships, and know how well he was coached in high school, and probably the right guy for us.
Obviously, you guys were very high on Keaton in the summer, but did you expect this to go into?
No. Anybody who would say that's lying. The hardest thing with freshmen is understanding what it's like in the moment, and how, until you actually coach, even in the summer. You know, the summer's a little more laid back and a little more chill, so to speak, and it's you're only on the court, you know, a small amount of time. But until you can really grind on them, until you can really get them in practice, and you get them fatigued, and you get them tired, and you get them day after day after day to find out who they are, you don't know. And yeah, we knew we were getting a really good player, but that became very evident this summer. But the mental part, the component that is there, the toughness, that's been beyond anything that I would have expected.
Brad, if you discover yourself, what would make you the number one offense? Like what would worry you as a defense?
I ask that after every game. That's the single question I ask every game. You know, what would, if I was Matt Painter, what would I have done different? And nothing. Not one thing different. I thought Matt, the switching, he hit the shots, he went late to then double in hopes that maybe everybody was out of rhythm. And you know, we've got multiple shooters on the court and space and rotation. I think that's the beauty of having 5 men who can shoot it, is it does force those changes, but and it's the beauty of having a guy like Keaton who can beat you off the dribble or beat you off the catch, and then shoot it from deep and get in the paint, and you know, so I think it's very hard. That's why we've tried to do it. But I ask myself that after every game. What's one of the first questions I ask: what would I do different if I was an opponent? And so I can mentally prepare for what's probably coming next from somebody else.
How's that feel that another team doesn't have an answer?
Yeah, it's still goes back to what I say. We made balls, and so that's one of those nights where it worked, you know, and yet everything I do as a coach is for the night they don't go in. So yeah, we got to have enough weapons. We've got to have enough options. We got to figure out. If you ask me why we won the game because we won the rebound battle, and we were dominant in that facet in a game with two teams having really, really high OERs. So that was the game, in my opinion.
Seems like maybe you've redefined pace from just getting up and down to getting into maybe action to action quicker. How much has that helped this team?
A lot. We still would. I still would love to see us play faster, but not reckless. And you know, I think that's where the game is continuing to go, is possessions. You know, I write it on the board before every game, and you know, is 4 to, you know, get 4 to space, 6 to action, and we want to try to get that as quickly as we can. Again, it's the uncomfortable piece we want to put defenses in, especially after missed shots. But not being reckless, trying to get more efficient shots that are our shots has helped us, and that shot selection diet has really helped us.
Some interesting defensive matchups in this game. Are there any that concern you the most, or that you're kind of emphasizing?
They're an elite offensive rebounding team. I mean, Steinbach is elite. With Frank in the game, he's second, I think. They're a team that can really hurt you on that with physicality. We'll see what their coverages are as we do every opponent. And then Diallo's turned into they're an elite mid-range shooting team. So you shoot those shots. Their bigs are usually around the rim. They're rolling, and we've got to make sure we can rebound with them.
There's a
This is the last one.
There's a report in Sportico yesterday that you're no longer considering the Royal Palm Invitational. You're excited about that potential in December, like what maybe happened in the month plus?
I don't know what. The only thing I'm excited about right now is Washington and our team, and Joey handles so much of that, and we'll see where it all goes. I think I think Illinois basketball is in a good place when it comes to all that stuff, and having want and teams, places to go. So I haven't thought about too much, to be honest. Thank you.